and they're doing it.
The most vocal of today's cosmic doomsayers is Bill Cooper, a former Navy petty officer who says he read and copied top-secret military documents which outline an incredibly complex plot involving international bankers, industrialists, politicians, drug cartels, the CIA, and of course the aliens. Cooper's first televised unveiling of this grand conspiracy came in a 1989 appearance with John Lear on the talk program On the Record.
We are in possession of alien technology, which we have actually, in effect, traded human lives and property for. There is a formal treaty, which is illegal under the Constitution, with this alien nation. Everything about it is illegal, and to tell you the truth, in my estimation, just stinks rotten. Like John, after this MUFON conference is over, I think I'm going to get out of this too.
But he didn't get out of it. Instead, he jumped into it with both feet. Cooper soon became the featured speaker at UFO lectures all over the West. A January 1989 appearance at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas drew 700 people at $10 a head, or $15 at the door. This promotional material proclaimed Petty Officer Cooper to be the nation's foremost expert on UFOs. Who's responsible for this designation?
It seems that people, in listening to what I have to say and what others have to say, have made their own determination on that fact. Never, at any point, have I ever made such a statement.
As the audiences grew, so did the story. Cooper's thesis, titled The Secret Government, grew from a modest 5 pages in January 1989 to a much heftier 28 pages by May of 1989. In the earlier version, Cooper pledged that this was it. There would be no additions or corrections.
He swore, part of the statement, I swear that this information is true, all true. 2 weeks later, he changed the story and swore that was true. Then he changed it again and swore that was true. Then he started suddenly assimilating information which he got from other researchers and other individuals and incorporating that into his story and claiming that it was part of the material that he had seen in 1972.
According to the Cooper scenario, humans have had a base on the moon since the 1950s, another on Mars since the 1960s. We've recovered dozens of crashed disks and scores of alien bodies. The aliens are here to use us for food and genetic experiments, including mass sterilization, which is why we must hang on to our guns and oppose birth control. George Bush is in on it, so is Henry Kissinger, the Vatican, and most of the nation's leading scientists. John Kennedy was assassinated because he was going to blow the whistle on the drugs and saucers connection. Bill Moore, Stan Friedman, Philip Klass, John Lear, Bob Lazar, and anyone else who questions Cooper's credibility have been written off as agents of MJ-12 and thus part of the plot. So what's the motive?
Get rich quick, where he's making thousands and thousands of dollars going around the country. He was in Atlanta last week. And charged $50 a plate for people to have dinner with him so they could ask him questions. You know, the man is, in my opinion, based on the research that I've done about him, and I don't mind saying this on camera, let him sue if he wants to challenge it. I'd love to have him in court. In my opinion, he's a total phony. Total phony.
Well, let me ask you, how much money do you make in what you do, and how much do you expect to make? I don't think it's anybody's business but my own.
Cooper insists his information came from reports he read in 1972. Moore points out some of the documents included in Cooper's thesis contain entries from 1974, 75, and beyond, and thus couldn't have been read by anyone in 72.
When I first met him a couple years ago, he said he could vouch for 50% of what I was saying. Since then, Bill apparently can vouch for 150% of what I'm saying.
John Lear was instrumental in bringing Cooper out of the UFO closet, but even Lear now questions Cooper's claims. In 1988, Lear helped an acquaintance compile and write a UFO paper under a pseudonym, O.H. Krill. The name is an inside UFO joke. Krill is supposedly the name of the first alien to communicate with humans. The O.H. was just picked out of thin air. But later, during an interview program, Lear says Cooper stated otherwise.
Just out of the corner of my ear, I heard Cooper talking about O.H. Krill. And God, I turned beet red, and I grabbed him and I walked into the living room. I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "About what?" I said, "O.H. Krill's a joke. We invented that for some papers." He said, No, I saw that in the Navy." I said, that's impossible, Bill. You couldn't have possibly seen that in the Navy. We came up with that last year. So that's one.
Cooper's paper states that the basics of his story have been independently verified by two sources, one of whom is Tony Pelham, reporter for the now defunct Las Vegas Bullet newspaper.
I personally believe that Bill Cooper is a complete fraud and that he's read a lot of UFO books, and he took advantage of charging $10 and $15 a person to give some lectures, which a lot of people will pay to listen to.
Pelham says he found bits and pieces of Cooper's background that checked out, but there was no confirmation of the big stuff. For instance, Cooper's copy of the 1972 documents.
Now, Cooper explained to me that his set of documents he had stored while he was living in California in a garage storage area behind his home. And he said a mysterious fire destroyed them. And as a reporter at the time, I said, well, fine, just simply give me the location and the date, the address, and I'll verify with the fire department that a fire took. And he became angry and said, no, I don't want to get anybody else. And I said, well, how could this hurt anyone for me to verify the date and place of a fire?
Cooper insists his stories are true. Those who disagree, he says, are dupes of the secret government. Former associates like John Lear, who dare to question Cooper's material, receive unsettling messages on their answering machines.
Yeah, John, this is Bill Cooper. You know, I really don't know how to express my anger, but I'll tell you right now, I told you a long time ago, anybody that attacks me is going to get crucified. And mister, I've always been very, very kind to you, and you know it. But my patience has run out. I hope you have a good flight.
Call this a prediction, but it probably won't be all that long until Eyewitness News is accused of being part of the secret government conspiracy as well because of this report. The tragedy in